better. Better and more successful. Tom thinks he's making money. Compare your salary to like anyone in the mainstream. Like, you made the wrong choice, dude. You're here with 300 maniacs on a... Alright, I'm happy you did it. Tom, you are the Oompa Loompa of the Liberty Movement. This feels a little aggressive, I know. The guy's my hero, but I'm doing what I can. Tom wore a suit to this event. He doesn't usually dress up, but this is his best try. So, you know. Tom, you are to fashion what Nick Sarwark is to libertarianism. I wish Michael Malice didn't write that last joke and it didn't get my best reaction of the night. All right. Well, look, I will say this, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, that everybody on this stage is a hero of mine, and not just that, that every single one of you guys in the crowd is a hero of mine. Thank you so much for coming out to this event. Thank you so much for a staff of amazing episodes.
Well, I thought you guys had that figured out. I mean, y'all need me to walk y'all through this? Like, y'all don't understand how this works?
See, he already got the check, so he's figuring it
Yeah,
out.
I'm already out of here, man. Like,
He got the free dinner. Now, I mean, you still need me?
I guess we can have off-brand Michael come
There you go.
come do his.
Yeah, we do
little-
need you to walk us through this. Yeah, and if you think of
I'm on
anything
clearance
else,
at Target
about
right
Dave.
now.
Give it a shot. Give it a
Yeah,
shot.
this is what you do. You always start with a professional comedian to go with the losers afterwards. You know, Tom actually told me that this was going to be a really exciting event. He's like, man, and it might be the hotel. Did they not let you do it with all the tiki torches on this one? Let's start with something easy. You know where Tom Woods is not going to try to sell you a Bluehost plan? Would you bust these people in? I didn't get one single answer. Just a bunch of chuckles. Soros brought you guys here. Oh no, it's libertarian, so that means free food. Let's try it again. You know where Tom Woods won't try to sell you a Bluehost plan? Wrong! Such a place does not exist. On the Contra Cruise, everything is sponsored by Bluehost.com/woods. Karaoke, Bluehost. Tiki Rally, Bluehost. Shore Excursion, Bluehost. In case you missed it, my name is Michael Bolden. I'm the least famous person here. My claim to fame is one thing alone. I am guest number 1 on the Tom Woods Show. You guys got that right? That's first. Before Rockwell, before Ron Paul, before Jethro Tull, before DiLorenzo and that other guy. If you thought that sucked, wait till what comes next. See, this is where the amateur hour starts. I'm not even a professional comedian. Me and the other guy are just here to take the chairs out after you guys leave. Tom, honestly, how many books have you written?
I'm afraid to answer, but it's 12.
Is that the real ones or just the e-books that you usually get people on your email list? All right, so 12 real ones plus Mein Kampf, that's 13, right? I am gonna back that up, I promise you. I don't really want to pick on Tom. I love the man. He's my friend. He's a giant for liberty, even though he doesn't look like it. Seriously though, 1,000 episodes, incredibly amazing. It takes an unbelievable amount of work. I know no one here has heard my own podcast that I did a few years ago. I did 2 years of podcasts, and I only did it once a week, so like 100 episodes, a tenth of what this guy does. And I was like, screw this is absurd, the amount of work that it takes. And over the years, Tom has become such a good friend to me. He's an inspiration. And sometimes I just think, like, And Tom just did this to me today. Give the guy a call. This is what friends do. That's what other guy and his buddy Hillary does, right? What was that guy, Dick Spencer? Is that who your friend is, right? So I think, I should just give Tom a call. We're friends. And then I realize I don't really need to. I'm on his email list and he writes me every single freaking damn week! Dave in the back, AV guy, you got us a little image number 1, right? Dave? Sorry, I gave you no warning. Hopefully it's the right picture. I don't see a picture.
Thank God.
Oh, right! I'm with Woods. This is an image of Tom from a few years ago. He's, doing a speech. This is what he does. He's amazing. I made this meme. Tom often talks about come to your friend's defense. I made this meme to share with 10th Amendment Center, which has a much larger following than Tom's Facebook page, does, because I wanted to come to his defense and say, you know what, I am with Woods. We're all with Woods. No joke here. I love the guy. I support him. Now let's get something juicy, Dave. We got image number 2. You want to know what happened with Nick Sarwark? The man was right. Nicht mehr versteckt, Obergruppenführer Woods. Thomas. Don't let him pretend he does not know the tongue of the fatherland. Okay, all joking aside, we all have to say something loving, right? Tom's podcasts and emails and books and emails and blogs and emails and speeches and emails. They've influenced an incredible amount of people. And I think most, if not all of us here, recognize that Ron Paul is the guy that brought the message of liberty really to the mainstream. True? And I'm definitely not trying to be funny on this one, but if there's a tier 2, like a second wave, it's this guy right here. He's leading the charge, spreading the message better than just about anybody else out there. So, yeah. I'd say Tom is doing so good spreading the message of liberty, we could all very easily start emulating him. Tom, you and I were on a panel together. I was kind of the nobody. Tom gave a speech for the Mises Institute at an event in San Diego earlier this year, and Tom gave a great speech. You should watch this, talking about some practical things you can do for liberty in your own life. But there's one thing that you missed, Tom. It was the intro step that we can all take right now. This, if you want to advance liberty, follow Tom. Sign up for a free Twitter account. Find some schmuck Antifa person with a maximum of 280 followers. Argue with them for about 6 hours about child labor laws, and boom, we're done. So every time I tell somebody I was the first ever guest on the Tom Woods Show, it's pretty amazing, right? It's pretty cool. It's a claim to fame. Someday he's going to have 10,000 episodes. You are going to have 10,000 episodes. And at some point, people are going to be like, how did this guy get started? And they're going to look back. They're going to find episode 1. And they're going to think, like, oh, wow, well, clearly that's why it started off so awesome, right? Guess again. Here's the real story. Look, Tom, we all know he's incredibly talented. He's incredibly smart. The guy could sell a Harry's razor to a guy with a beard. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Knowing Tom for 8-9 years now, and having a lot of experience in audio and event production and things like that, when Tom started the podcast, he didn't have a clue what he was doing. So what does a smart guy do? Well, for example, I'm in the process of moving to a new apartment back home in LA right now. So I've been calling all my, what do you guys call them libertarians, but back in my country in California, we have a different word. They're called unemployed. Don't attack the crowd, Bolden. Don't attack the crowd. So I call all my unemployed friends and say, man, you should really hang out on my couch. I know I haven't been really cool with couch surfing over the years, but you should. And then once they get there, I'm like, oh, dude. Yeah, so I'm moving. And that's basically what Tom did in episode 1. He brought the schmuck on, and if you want the real interview with a zombie, it's right here. Hey, a little self-deprecation. But that brings us to tonight. I would like to say that it's an honor to be here, but this is fake news. It is not. No one wanted this gig. No one. Let me tell you the backstory. You guys like all the inside scoop on the wood stuff, right? Well, I got a lot of juicy stuff that I am not sharing. First, Tom asked Michael Malice. Michael wasn't going to touch this second-rate comedy gig without less than 50 rider requirements, and I hear he's actually working on a new book. Michael, I'm really excited. You're writing a book about how you lost the big debate about Hamilton, but I know you really, from what I heard, you've got to come up with a new title. There's another Hamilton lover who's already used it, called What Happened. Next up, Tom asked Murphy. Bob wants you all to think he had a faculty event. Really? This is weak, but... Bob had a karaoke competition. He has this amazing rendition of Love Shack ready to go. So option number 3, right? Wrong. Tom has another friend that I heard about. His name is Christopher Cantwell? I guess they're good buddies from the League of the South days or something. I don't really know. And Tom asked him, and he got a collect call from the guy, and he's like, dude, I can't make it. I'm on total lockdown this week. See, a professional does not laugh at his own jokes. What were you, like 5'26"? Number 1, 35 is like the 34th loser. 5'26"? What the hell is that? I mean, so Dave and I are roommates. You guys didn't know this, did you? Roommates on the Contra Cruise next month. So, when I tell you that when Dave needs a really big number, it's an issue, let me know. As his roommate, I can tell you it is a real issue. Sorry. So, for those of you who enjoyed this, thought there were a few fun things that maybe I said, I definitely cannot take credit for anything that was funny. I spent a little bit of time with my lovely partner, Sarah, talking about some jokes. Also, my great friend and co-worker at TAC, Mike Meharry, and his wife, Cynthia. In fact, once we all started chatting in like 30, 40 minutes, we were able to come up with a bunch of jokes, and it only took like 5 or 6 index cards. And for those of you who think I suck, including myself, you may have just witnessed the first bombing that Tom can't blame on the neocons. I love you guys.
We have one more, and then we'll have a special guest come up, Tom DeLorenzo.
These guys are good, aren't they? They can even make money at it someday. Maybe keep at it. I happened to be there when Tom got one of the first reviews, was reading one of the first reviews of his book, The Politically Incorrect Guide to American History. And boy, man, the neocons were up in arms over the things he said about the Civil War. And they started calling him a neo-Confederate. Tom's response was, what do you mean neo? What is that anyway? But I thought I'd do something. Anybody can make jokes about Tom. But so I thought I'd give you a little bit of history. Let's share a little bit of my history. When Tom first showed up at the Mises Institute in Alabama for Mises University when he was an undergraduate student, Murray Rothbard was a little suspicious of him. After all, he's coming from Harvard, Ivy League. How many students that we ever had from the Ivy League? They're well known. They're a bunch of pack of Marxists and leftists, coming out of the Ivy League, so we were naturally suspicious of anybody, especially since at the time Harvard was the very first school to set up a free speech guideline book after they discovered some young freshman student from South Carolina had a Confederate flag in her dorm room. And so they started political correctness there. And here comes Tom, you know. And we had a few people who came to this who weren't interested at all in economics or Austrian economics. And they were kind of spies. They just wanted to be able to claim that they had been there. And then they would make stuff up. They say these horrible lies about Murray Rothbard or Lou Rockwell or me or somebody. So we're kind of suspicious of this. So we didn't really trust Tom. He'd come from the Ivy League. And then he gets there and he tells us that he wants to go to graduate school at Columbia. And he has an interest in the Civil War. So Murray Rothbard asked me to look into this guy. And is he on the up and up or what? So I dug up some of my old notes that I prepared So I know here's Tom. He wants to go to Columbia University to go to graduate school, study history. He's interested in the Civil War. Who's the big Civil War guy at Columbia? Is Eric Foner. And so I look up Eric Foner. I mean, this is who Tom is going to be learning from, maybe writing a dissertation on that. That's why he's going there. So Eric Foner, the first thing I read from Eric Foner is he says that all of his other scholarship had been inspired by Marxism, but he regrets it was not Marxist enough. That's true. That's a true story. And then at around the same time, this is the early 90s, Foner publishes an article in The Nation magazine called Lincoln's Lesson, in which he opposed the breakup of the Soviet Union. You know, the whole world was celebrating, rejoicing, getting drunk, the Soviet Union collapsed. And here's Eric Foner saying that's a bad thing. And here's some of the things he said. He complained about an obsessive need to write the history of the Soviet Union. People were actually writing the awful history. He didn't think, as a historian, he didn't think that was a good idea. He wrote that the Communist Party USA is a cultural front that helped to redraw the boundaries of American freedom. Communist Party USA. This is in The Nation magazine. He called it a crisis, the breakup of the Soviet Union, a crisis. He said no leader of a powerful nation should allow such a thing as a dismemberment of the Soviet Union. And he criticized Gorbachev for not being more like Lincoln. He was saying the Russian people need a Lincoln now more than ever, but they're stuck with Gorbachev. And he said the Soviet Union, like the American Union, should be considered a permanent government, and he hoped Gorbachev would agree. And so this guy, it's way out there, and we were worried that Tom wants to be his mentor. But shortly thereafter, we found out that Tom was a good guy after all. Once he was maliciously libeled and smeared by the Southern Poverty Law Center. I've actually put that on my resume because I've decided it actually helped me get a better job if I go in the job market. And I've been continually maliciously libeled and smeared by the Soviet Poverty Lie Center, as I call it. But what really convinced Murray Rothbard that Tom was one of us was when he was also maliciously libeled and smeared by one of the stranger-looking neocons with an even stranger name. It was a Russian immigrant named Max Boot. And so once he was on the target list of Max Boot, we knew he was one of us. And of course, he was and he is and always will be. And he's surpassed us, and he's done more for freedom than any of us who were his teachers 25 years ago at Mises University. And he's still got a few years in him, too. And that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to share this little true history.
If you can, just give a round of applause for everybody that participated. But before we allow Tom to come up, we have a very special guest that's going to come up. He is not in on this. He has absolutely no idea who is coming up. This person indeed wrote their own jokes. So if they could come up to the stage, this is going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to this. So we'll see if they're ready. But it's coming. It's coming.
Someday, little 3-year-old Sarah will want to viciously attack her father. This is not that day. Hi, sweetie.
Don't rest easy, Tom.
So, of course, this person wrote their own jokes. I'm really looking forward to this, if we can bring. And unfortunately, I'm going to need you to actually get up. You're off-brand Michael. No, I'm talking about you. Off-brand Michael, if you can, please stand up and leave. Absolutely. So we can bring up Mr. Michael Malice.
Oh, that is
It's not Michael Malice. I'm lying. It's not Michael Malice. It's not. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. But, I guess y'all really just gonna have me come up here and freestyle like that. I mean, I can start beatboxing and keep on freestyling. They ain't paid me enough money to be doing all that.
okay.
But, of course, there's our special guest.
Who is it?
Come
Who
on.
is it?
Come on.
Who is it? I'm terrified. Who is it? Who is it?
You find out for yourself. You know who this is?
Oh,
You know
no.
who this is?
Oh, no.
You know these people?
No way! You want to come around this way? Use the microphone, or do you want to use this? I guess you guys know who this is. These are my daughters. Let's get the microphone on for them, please.
My dad says driving 30 minutes to my friend's house is too labor intensive. So we just cruise around the Bahamas instead. I guess Dad needs hearing aids. Whenever I ask him where he earned his credentials in economics, he can't seem to hear me. Dad has trouble remembering things, so we bought him a parrot. Sadly, it backfired. It just repeats the same garbage he does. My dad started watching his weight, which means he's on a new diet. He's down to just 3 donuts a day. My dad's having trouble selling tickets on the Contra Cruise because his listeners are afraid they're going to win yet another ebook. Oh gosh, I just went blank. Oh no! What? Hello, Mom? A little assistance, please? Oh gosh. What autobiography? That was Amy's.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad usually buys. My dad usually buys off-brand groceries because he says you can't taste the difference. Hope you enjoyed your dinner. We had to ask the builder if he could lower the doorknobs for Dad's new house. I think you know why. If you're interested in Dad's new biography, it's over at the book table, and it's called The Very Hungry Caterpillar. When my dad gets ready for the day, he doesn't need a hairbrush because he has no hair. When my dad goes for a drive in his new BMW, he can't go as fast as he likes because he can't fully reach the pedal. My dad's too short, so he can't pee in the toilet.
Oh my God!
I just trusted my dad.
Off-brand Michael back to the stage, of course. Yeah, Off-brand Michael's coming back. But this is the guy that we've obviously came to see. I just want to, before he goes up and roasts everybody, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for bringing all of us. It was a cool opportunity to obviously meet all of these guys and link up with guys like Dave and people that we chat with all the time. We do all of these podcasts, but I sincerely mean it when you are really leading the charge and you put out so much good material that I can give to my mother, you know what I mean? Somebody that, wouldn't listen to me yell in her face and talk about the stuff that I talk about. I can send her your way and you can say the same principles really eloquently. So I really do appreciate you've been a huge inspiration for guys like myself and pretty much everybody out here. So big shout out to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Lewis.
You have got to be kidding me. I did not know about that last part at all. I cannot believe the things that go on when my back is turned. Amazing. Well, Eric, I recommend you don't share this episode with your mother, if you follow what I'm saying. All right, well, the thing is, it's hard for me to roast people because I'm a decent person. It is too bad, honest to goodness. This is not a joke. Bob Murphy. Most of you know Bob Murphy. He's my partner in crime. We have a podcast together. We've done a lot of stuff together for a long time. And he was going to be a surprise guest at this event. But instead I had to settle for Dave Smith and Michael Bolden. But Bob is the master of the roast. He's tremendous, and it would have been wonderful to have him here, but he had to stay home practicing the pronunciation of the word nuclear. And had to get tailored those clown suits that he walks around in at these different conferences. So couldn't make it today. All right, I got a little stuff for you guys. I got a little stuff. Can't promise a lot, right? I got a little stuff. I'm going to save Dave Smith for the end. Right? We'll start with this jerk, the old Jeff Spicoli of libertarianism here. I mean, my gosh, if you listen to Michael Bolden talk, it's pot. Marijuana, weed. He goes to conferences, he goes to Second Amendment conferences, and he tells these gun people that they're a bunch of wusses because the weed people are willing to defy the law. Why don't you be more like these weed smokers? Yeah. And so, you look at him and you think he must be he just looks that way. He'd never touch the stuff. That's just how he looks. Speaking of how he looks, Donald Trump looked better in that Kathy Griffin photo. Oh, that's a terrible. Totally uncalled for. Absolutely uncalled for thing to say. Very wonderful thing to have Tom DiLorenzo here with us tonight. A real privilege. Trying to pay him. The guy hates Lincoln so much he won't take $5 bills. I held a penny up to him once. It was like a crucifix in front of Dracula. Guy hates Lincoln so much he went to a play the other day and shot the actor. Had his birthday party at Ford's Theater the other day. Tom DiLorenzo. Oh, yeah, that was a low blow. You don't know low blows, my friend. All right, who else here? Who else am I forgetting? Oh, Dave Smith. Hey, Dave, how are you? So, you had the #1 album over on iTunes. That's great. Yeah. I got Dave's new comedy album, or as I call it, a coaster. Dave's on Fox News once in a while. Fox Business, gets on Fox News once in a while. Watching him try to explain something is like watching someone try to play a violin with a cheese grater. Which, incidentally, he does for 16 solid minutes on his new album. Yeah, Dave's a wonderful guy. Dave combines all the friendliness of New York City with all the runaway popularity of a libertarian fringe thinker. Now, Dave's album is not number one anymore. It was number one for a while. It's now number two, or as I like to call it, the William Weld position. But let's give Dave credit where it's due. His album was number one on iTunes in its category. Of course, the category was waterboarding. All right, that's all I have to say to these guys. Thanks to them. Eric, come on back up.